Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. It's Saturday evening and by the time you're watching this I shall probably be away out with Patrick. But today we are talking housing, or lack thereof. I just read an article that was talking about the shortage of housing in the UK for people, for young families, for people, young couples, etc. Even for older people if they want to downsize. There is a huge shortage of housing that is affordable. And you may have seen the reports about how many offshore companies own property in Britain as an investment. So it turns out that the property in Britain is not actually, there's so much of it where no one cares if anyone lives in it or not. It's just an investment. It's not been bought for anyone to live in. It's been bought as a financial transaction. And I wondered where that leaves us. Now, if you've been watching this for a while, you'll know I've got a mortgage on this. And you'll also know that I had to sell my parents' home for care home fees. And I'm just thinking, if I have to give this up, if I have to sell this home, I need to keep my fingers crossed that I can afford a smaller place. Otherwise, I'm going to have to rent. And I really don't want to be in my 70s or my 80s trying to find rent money. I want to be that the roof over my head is mine. And the article I was reading was saying, with the problems with housing, we need to look at it differently. I thought, okay. So they were talking about housing cooperative. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And it's basically bedsits. It's a room in a shared property. I think it's an 11-room property that we're talking about. And I know that it's better than nothing. But after working all my days, I really don't want to live in a bedsit. I just don't. And I don't care how you fancy it up and go a studio flat or whatever. It's not a studio flat, it's a bedsit. So that was one of the options. And the other options, again, it was all shared living. So how do we beat that? Because unless you pull together with some friends or you use someone who's got a bigger property and you manage to work it out like that, that's the only way to do that. And certainly, I don't think there's a council in the land that is building social housing just now. They're letting developers build thousands of houses. Trust me, I'm in the middle of it. Thousands of houses. And there's affordable homes have to be built within that housing, but they might not build it in the same area. They might build it 3-4 miles out, the affordable housing. To make sure that we don't have the affordables with the deluxe homes. I mean, look at the ones in London where they did the flats and they had to put in affordable flats and they've got a separate door at the back and a separate play area for the kids. They're not allowed to mingle with your deluxe flats. And that's just wrong. As far as I'm concerned, that's just wrong. But in saying that, how do we change it? Because the government doesn't even have enough money to pay its workers. The councils are struggling to fill potholes, never mind build houses. And what's happening is all these people, like my parents, who are having to sell their houses to go into care, which is an elderly population, which when it was council homes, when so many people used to live in council homes, then the next young family would go in after they departed. Now they don't. Now it's sold to the highest bidder and a lot of them are bought as investment pieces. So, yeah, it's actually freaking me out. I do not want to be in a bedsit in my 70s. I just don't. I remember seeing a documentary quite a few years ago now. And it was a lady who was probably in her 70s, if not 80s, and the only place she could afford was a bedsit up in the attic. And they filmed her trying to climb those stairs, taking her messages with her. And it was one room with a 2-ring burner. It was just awful. And I'm like, I know it sounds awful, but I deserve more than that. And so do the rest of us. So yeah, I don't have a clue how to fix it. I don't really have a clue what it's all about, but I really, really think we need to have a look at housing and see if, community groups can start doing something, or, charities can start doing something. We need more social housing in this country, because to put pensioners who've worked all their days in bed sits, that's just wrong. So there you go. Now I'm going to go and get changed and make myself pretty and go out for the night. So I hope you have a good Saturday night, and I will catch you later.